What's up, Backyard Explorers? We are out on another adventure today. Right now we're currently stopped in Price, Utah. We're going to be heading down towards the Hanksville area, making our way down the Burr Trail. I'm going to camp just outside of Lake Powell, and then tomorrow we're going to make our way back up, kind of go through some of the Henry Mountains, depending how much snow we run into, and just do a lot of exploring on a bunch of dirt roads in that area. So let's get going. So right now we're on Nottom Road. There's a small portion at the beginning that's paved, so we're about to jump off of the paved part and start hitting the dirt inside of Ticaboo Reef National Park, and we'll make our way along the water pocket fold is what it's called. It's a really cool geological spot, and make our way across down it towards Lake Powell. Look at this landscape here. Like, that is like dirt, it's not rock. There's still nothing on it. It's amazing. It's a beautiful look here at a cool section of the water pocket fold. It's all these cool formations. Just incredible. The Water Pocket Fold is the main geological feature inside of Ticaboo Reef National Park. It is a buckle in the Earth's surface that is nearly 100 miles long. Rocks have pushed upward, and erosion has cut through many layers of the fold, creating deep, narrow canyons along with some incredible rock formations. There are a bunch of hiking trails right off of Nottom Bullfrog Road that I've been wanting to check out. I'm hoping to come back later this spring for some camping and hiking with the family. Hey Backyard Explorers, Saturday morning, we got in a little after dark and just kind of set up camp and went to bed. And this morning we're going to do a lot of exploring just around in this area, do some hiking around with the boys, go check out the lake and things like that. We're just at a campground, a primitive campground just outside of Bullfrog, Utah. And after that, we'll pack up, start making our way back towards Hanksville, hopefully through some roads through the Henry Mountains. So let's check things out.
Where's the fish?
We'll see if it comes back. Toss it. Throw it. You're getting too close to that edge.
What?
How about you throw smaller ones?
Why?
So you don't fall in the lake with them?
I think that's for 5. 5.
So I'm curious at what you guys are doing for keeping track of your stuff. The reason I ask is we show up here last night, get ready to cook up some grilled cheese. I've got everything except for a skillet. So I literally have no hard surface to cook on. So I found a rock and was able to, pretty flat rock, put it down, cook up our grilled cheese. And somehow just between the cleaning process and stuff, the skillet didn't get put back in the cookingware stuff, but I gotta come up with some type of a system. I left my backpack this time too, which has all my extra clothes. Really not a big deal. We're only doing one night and then we're gonna be out all day today and we'll be home tonight, but just kind of annoying. So I don't know if you're using a spreadsheet, if you're just using like the notes app on your phone, if you have something else. I'd love to hear what you're using because I definitely need to be doing something because I will forget something every time if I don't. My videos for a while, you know, from like a kit perspective, I run things pretty basic. I'm a big fan of using what you have. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to add more stuff, and doesn't mean I don't like more stuff or anything like that. I kind of build it out as I run it. Heck, I'm running the same sleeping bag that I've been running since I was a Boy Scout. But there is one piece of kit that I use all the time, and surprisingly way more than I thought I would. In fact, I didn't buy it because I wasn't sure I'd use it that often, but my brother-in-law got it for me, and it is this little tiny solar panel right here. Now, there's a bunch of solar panels. I'm not a solar panel expert. Do your own research, but I'm surprised by how often I use it. I'm not running like a dual battery setup on the car, so I don't like leaving devices in to charge in there. And because we're in Utah and we get a ton of natural sunlight all the time, I usually whip it out, hook up devices, phone, a lot of times the GoPro. Right now I'm charging a little speaker that we're going to be using, things like that. And it's awesome. I think this thing was like 30 bucks. It's a couple years old now, so I'm sure there's ones that are a little bit nicer and fancier, but it's actually a piece of kit that I thought was like, man, I don't know if I ever want it. My brother-in-law hooked me up one for Christmas, and I absolutely love it. And it's, you know, pretty inexpensive mod. I just keep it with all my gear, pull it out, start charging stuff. So kind of a cool little thing. So we topped up on fuel at Bullfrog, and now we're going to start making our way through some cool desert over to some overlooks and then through some of the Henry Mountains. So let's get going. After a quick jump back on the pavement to get outside of Glen Canyon National Recreation Area, we jumped back on the dirt and started cutting our way through the desert. Man, I just love the desert. It's February 2nd. It's 50 degrees outside, even though it's a little overcast. And it's just nice being out. I love exploring the desert like this. I could drive on rolling desert trails like this forever. It never gets old to me. How someone can sleep on a trail like this blows my mind. Check out this view. Just got to the end of Ticaboo Mesa Road, and just looking out that way down off the next set of cliffs is Lake Powell. It is just beautiful. It's a beautiful day. It's been a really fun kind of rough road. It's just a dead end road, so we're gonna turn around and head back here after we eat some lunch, but it's been a ton of fun. Great start to the first leg of today. After leaving Ticaboo Mesa Overlook, we backtracked for a few miles before hopping Highway 276 and heading up Shootering Road. Shootering Road was perhaps my favorite part of this trip. The road makes its way up a really cool wash. In many ways, it reminded me of exploring the washes in Arizona. Eventually, the road runs you right next to a mine site that looks to be active. There was no one there, but the buildings were in good condition, and the road seems to be maintained better than it normally would have been. As the elevation started to rise, we started encountering some snow. I was pretty surprised to see snow all the way down here, which made me feel a little bit nervous about the remaining miles ahead, as I knew we would be climbing quite a bit to get through the Henry Mountains. The boys are both ready to expend some energy, so I'm just gonna send them on a little walk up the trail. Grab them in a minute. With the beautiful desert giving way to snow and cloud-covered mountains, I wished I had more time to take it all in. But I was hoping to make it over the mountain and back into the desert outside of Hanksville before it got dark. I tried to pick up my pace, but the higher I climbed, the worse the road conditions got. Snow and mud-covered switchbacks added just the right level of excitement, turning a fairly tame mountain road into a true 4x4 trail. I was getting close to the top, where I would start making my way back down, but snow had its own plan. Well, I think I've reached the end of this trail, trying to go through the Henrys. It is getting too deep. We're just spinning wheels right now. I think I can throw the lockers in, at least get it backwards onto some dry ground. But over here on this right side, it's pretty deep. It's about almost up to my knee. You look in that hole. Frustrated that I was stuck, I started working on some solutions. My initial thought was that by throwing in the lockers, I would be able to get enough traction to go backwards where I could then turn around and start to backtrack. However, I was pretty high-centered, and all four wheels were just spinning looking for traction. Unfortunately, there were no real trees to use for the winch. I attempted to use it at a poor angle on a tree that had fallen over and was semi-buried in snow. However, after just a few seconds of winching, it pulled the tree free. With dark closing in fast, I decided I would make one hard push at digging myself out, working on any areas that were still high-centered. I dug for about 2 hours, stopping every once in a while to give it a try with no success. Just before giving up for the night and deciding to try again in the morning, I decided to dig a little bit more, focusing my efforts on the rear axle, which was by far the most high-centered. I've been procrastinating picking up some traction mats for a while, but it's time for me to pick something up, as I'm certain I would have been able to crawl right out with just a little bit of help. Any recommendations on traction mats that you like, let me know. After a few minutes of rocking forward and back, I was finally able to spring loose. Unfortunately, the GoPro SD card had filled up during my failed attempts, and so I didn't catch it on camera. Hours behind schedule, I opted to backtrack several miles and connect with a road that would lead me out to the highway where we headed for home.